If everyone could take their seats, please. The chair would like to call to order tonight's regular meeting of the CUSD 201 Board of Education, today, April 26, 2016. And roll call, please.
Ms. Ambrose. Mr. Armstrong.
Here.
Mrs. Charlton.
Here.
Mr. Johnson.
Here.
Mrs. Notbush.
Here.
Mr. Price.
Here.
Ms. Wilson. Thank you.
If we could stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, the first item on the agenda is approval of minutes, April 12th. The chair will entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the April 12th, 2016 regular meeting of the Board of Education as presented.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. For the next one, for the first closed session, no, never mind, that's the second one. The first closed session, the chair will entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the first closed session of the April 12th, 2016 regular meeting of the Board of Education as presented.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, now, for the second, in your black folder, there's a copy where we just made a slight change, moving around the piece where the superintendent exited the room. It was a technical thing. It was up at the top, and we just moved it down to, does everyone see that? Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay, the chair will entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the second closed session of the April 12th, 2016 regular meeting of the Board of Education as presented.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Then, are there any public comments? Okay, consent agenda. Any comments or questions? All right, the chair will entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented. Number 1, personnel recommendations, stipend positions, Jeff Pearson, head girls basketball coach, Westmont High School. 2, approval of SACID classroom lease. 3, approval of April 2016 expenditure report. 4, ratification of March 2016 regular payroll. And 5, resolution to abate working cash funds.
So moved. Second.
And roll call, please.
Mr. Armstrong.
Yes.
Mr. Johnson.
Yes.
Mrs. Notbush.
Yes.
Mr. Price.
Yes.
Mrs. Charlton.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, the first item for discussion is the dual language program report.
Good evening, honorable board members of Community Unit School District 201. It's a pleasure to present the status of our dual language program focusing on growth. Today I am joined by the BPAC interim president, Laura Coyle, by a dual language teacher, Abby Cullen, by the Miller Elementary principal, Tim Weiler, and by myself, assistant principal, Hector Freitas at Westmont, and the ELL director. Did you know that there are 17 dual language programs in the state of Illinois, 17 districts with dual language out of 863. That is 2%. We are part of that 2%. And I'm so proud to say that we are living up to our vision of bringing innovative programs to the students of CUSD 201. You know, every time I come and I see the wonderful water tower that says Progressive Village, that's a progressive move. And every citizen in this town, including Curtis and Downer, should be proud that CUSD 201 has a terrific dual language program. Here's the overview of tonight's presentation. Our areas for growth include planning. I will show one of our 3-year plans. Funding. I was able to get the Bilingual Excellence in Education grant. Involvement through the Bilingual Parent Advisory Committee, and resources focusing on quality. Here's our SMART goal that's part of our 3-year plan. By the year 2018-2019, CUSD 201 will have an effective and resource-rich kindergarten through 5th grade dual language program. This coming year, we are adding 3rd grade. We're also adding bilingual reading specialists, and we're in the search for a bilingual special education teacher. As you can see, our SMART goal we put in an action plan. There's our goal, hiring competent dual language teachers every year. Our activity, the interview committee will hire a highly qualified teacher. The people responsible will be the principal of Mill Elementary, the ELL bilingual director, and other stakeholders who will be members of that interview committee. The resources needed, we need the candidates that are highly qualified before we can hire them. Completed dates, our goal is to hire these candidates by the end of the school year. And the final approval will be your signature on their contract, the person we recommend. I hope, Kim, you're happy because I was able to get us a bilingual excellent grant. I know times, are tough financially, so I was doing my part in seeking financial opportunities to bring to this district. I was able to get a grant for $8,955 that will be used for professional development. We will be working with an excellent bilingual ed director from District 104 who has 5 years of experience and has built a fabulous K through 5th grade dual language program.
Can we just applaud that for 1 second? I think Kim is happy, but I think we are all happy. Whenever we get a grant and somebody works on it, thank you very much. So
You're more than welcome. And now, because one of our goals, areas for growth, is to involve the community, I would like to invite the first ever Bilingual Parent Advisory Committee interim president, Ms. Laura Cole.
Thanks, Hector. I'm happy to be here. We're really excited that we've had a lot of success in getting the Bilingual Parent Advisory Committee started and initiated. We've had a lot of activity so far and interest in the committee. We've just finalized our mission statement, which you can see here. I'll read it so that everybody can absorb it. It's to facilitate the advancement of ELL and dual language programs for CUSD 201 by engaging parents and the community in the program awareness, enrollment, and advocacy, which is a long way of saying we want to get the community involved in the program, make sure the community really understands how this program is adding value to the Westmont School District and Westmont as a community, and leverage the program as a way to really make Westmont a destination for parents looking for excellence in education for their children. So that's the main goal of this committee, and we've decided we're going to meet on a quarterly basis, likely to add meetings as we go, but really interested in facilitating the conversations with the community, making sure we have active involvement. We've had about 12 participants per meeting so far and looking to increase that as we go along. We have an initial event which is going to be held May 20th from 5 to 7 p.m. at Miller School, and we welcome everybody to join us for that. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Abby.
Good evening. Thank you so much for having us tonight. We really appreciate that you are giving us this time. I'm just going to talk a little bit about some of the resources that we've been using in the dual language. That we've been using in the dual language program. I'm a second grade dual language teacher, and so I actually have some of them to share with you if you want to look through them, kind of as I'm going through the presentation. So we've been using a program called a Common Core Literacy A+ kit, and we have them for kindergarten through 3rd grade, and it's from the organization Santiana, and it includes a lot of authentic Spanish literature as well as nonfiction text with rigorous assessments involving vocabulary, word work, comprehension, and so I've been using these with my students throughout my units. I have an example right here if you'd like to look through it. This is the 2nd grade sample, and like I said, we have kindergarten through 3rd grade. It is all in Spanish, but it's a fabulous resource to use. We also had a piloted program called Maravillas, which is from McGraw-Hill, and most of those resources were online and they were digital. But it included a lot of activities for word work, grammar, spelling, Common Core aligned text, and online interactive resources for students to utilize at home as well. So I have a sample as that. This is an example of the student text. This is what the students would be reading in the classroom. And we recently also were fortunate to have Discovery Links leveled readers so that we can enhance our guided reading instruction in the classroom. And most of these leveled readers are social studies and science content. And one of our goals is to align our bilingual unit frameworks to the NGSS science standards. So that's one of our main goals that we've been working closely as a team with, and we're also kind of piloting it this year and going to also share this with the regular education teachers. So I have a few samples of those leveled readers as well. So as we continue to enhance and grow our resources, we always make sure to look for authentic, high-interest text for our students. As you're looking through these resources, I hope that you can see they involve many interactive photographs, captions. They're rigorous. They are various levels so that we can make sure that we are meeting the needs of all of our students, native Spanish speakers as well as native English or other native language speakers. Thank you. With that, I would like to introduce our principal, Mr. Tim Weiler, and he's going to explain some more of our future goals.
Thank you for letting us talk tonight about our dual language program and our future with dual language. And with that being said, I just want to commend our teachers this year for really stepping up and leading in a very daunting task, because not only do they spend quite a bit of time with their monolingual partners in PLCs with their grade levels, working with the curriculum and assessments that they're giving in the monolingual classes, they're also taking that and modifying and accommodating their plans to build our dual language program. So they're kind of doing a lot of work in both languages while collaborating with their counterparts in both Manning and Miller. So I just want to commend them for a very daunting task. It's tough work, and they're up for it, and every day they show their tenacity in working with our kids and just making sure they have the love and the enrichment they need in the classroom. So it's a couple of things that we're going to be focusing on, and you can hold us accountable for at Miller for really pushing our dual language to the next level. And that is, over the next couple months, we'll have roughly 400 Spanish books that we started the school year off this past school year, to over 3,000 in our Spanish library. So that's a huge gain in what we're giving to our kindergarten through second grade students. So we're adding to our library, and we need some space for that. So with the construction projects, it's a perfect combination of really modifying our spaces to meet the needs of all our classroom teachers. Collaborating with each other, and not only with each other, but really taking those conversations to the next level with currently this past year, some of our teachers went to 2 different districts that have built a K-5 dual language program, bringing those conversations back to the building and really taking those to the next level by implementing the plans we need to build a strong curriculum, scope and sequence, and making those ties to student growth. We're planning on using PLC time to better articulate our dual language goals and having the team collaborate more regularly during the month, because currently our dual language team meets in the morning before school at least twice a month, with Mr. Freitas twice a month in BPAC and dual language and ELL committee, as well as once during a staff meeting for an hour a month. And we're looking to increase that and really make sure our plans are tightened up so we make that time most effective, as we'll have almost up to 6 dual language staff members collaborating in our building next year, with the increase in special ed, bilingual special ed teacher, our bilingual reading specialist, as well as 4 grade level teachers that all focus on dual language and increasing our Spanish proficiency. Focusing on field trips that, and the team can elaborate a little bit more on this, but language experience approach to field trips, where culture and more of what our students bring into the school they can go out to the community and experience some of those things together and then bring those experiences into the classroom, as well as information that we send home, not only just for our dual language students, but everyone is in both Spanish and English. So we're working real hard on making sure everything is translated, and we're communicating with our parents at the level that they need in order to respect their values at home. And then really working on, if we do have some student needs in special education that require some teacher assistance in the classroom, really focusing on making sure our classroom aides are proficient in Spanish so they can better support our students if the need arises. So really focusing on the TAs that we can hire in the future to help support our classroom teachers. So those are some of the goals you could hold us accountable for over the next few years as we grow the program, and that's going to be our highlight and our focus as we move into the next school year. Thank you for your time.
Any questions or comments?
Program sounds wonderful. I can tell you, I hear about it from community members all the time. I hear about it from people outside the community. So I mean, I think it's great. I think it's just nothing but a real positive for our district and for the students, obviously. So I think that's great. You guys are doing a wonderful job.
I'll reiterate what Gary said. I'm in Downers Grove a lot, and a couple people that I know that have kids in school, they had said something. Isn't Westmont that where you guys are doing that dual language program? And I lifted my chin higher and said, yes, we are. And they said that they had heard that was a buzz in Downers, and there were people that were thinking about moving here because of our dual language program. And that's a nice thing to hear. It's a nice thing to hear. And I assume the students are thriving. It sounds like everything's going really well. It's a great piece, and to see the collaboration between teachers from other buildings and parents, and that it's a great program. Wonderful.
Thank you for the board support and the superintendent. Thank you, guys.
I'd like to say also real quick, I'm really impressed with the way it's growing and to see the progression. I mean, we start small with one class, right, and each year we're adding on to it and it's getting bigger. And it's exciting to see it growing like that. It's exciting to see it succeed. We started off, we said, hey, this looks like a good thing, but you know, we didn't know what to expect. There's, like you said, we're in 2%. There's not a lot of them out there to look at to say, how's it going to go? So, you know, given that there's not a lot of other models out there and everything, so I think everyone's done a wonderful job of getting this on the right footing, and, you know, it's just exciting to watch it grow. So, nice job.
Thank you all.
Thank you. Okay, the next item on the agenda is the library program presentation.
I want to introduce my friends, Rebecca Johnston, Karen Johnson, and Sheila Rue. They'll be presenting the library program.
Thank you. Okay, thank you. Good evening. Thank you, Nadine, for the introduction and for your support in having us here tonight. We're very excited to be here to share with you how our school libraries transform learning, which happens to also be the theme of American Library Association for School Library Month. As we share images with you from our district libraries, we hope you'll see the many wonderful ways in which we're transforming learning for the students of District 201. How do we facilitate these transformations in our libraries? We facilitate collaboration with teachers and students. We support our school and district goals. We foster literacy and lifelong learning, and we design learning environments that support community building and 21st century learning. At Manning, the library works directly with teachers to transform student learning. Materials and collaborative units extend the classroom and its instruction. Every week, students have the opportunity to select new books to read, enjoy, and foster their love of literacy. They also complete research and technology projects that offer opportunities for students to develop 21st century learning skills. The 5th grade Genius Hour encourages students to select and direct their own learning. Students, teachers, and community resources have come together at the library to develop a central environment of laughter, literacy, and transformative learning. At Miller, the library supports teaching and strengthening 21st century learning skills. Similar to Manning, the students visit the library for book checkout and work on classroom projects integrated with technology. New technology additions include school-use Chromebooks for 3rd through 5th graders. Students utilize Google Drive, and teachers manage students' work using Google Classroom. Our newly acquired iPad cart is used for classroom checkout or during the students' scheduled library sessions. Students use the devices to enhance projects, explore the various apps, and support their curiosity for learning. At Westmont Junior High, we're transforming the Media Center to be a learning environment that is inviting, collaborative, and a hub of activity. Teachers and students can be seen throughout the day, even at lunch, gathering to support learning and meeting school and district goals. Students come in to get books throughout the day to also support their love of literacy. Every student having a Chromebook allows for access to technology anywhere in the building. This flexibility makes embedding technology seamless. The new Sprouting Seeds Cafe, in the area that used to be the Balcony Lab, is an inviting environment for students and teachers to meet and build learning communities. Transforming learning in these ways is preparing our students to be successful 21st century learners. Students and teachers at Westmont High School view their library as the hub of the school, a home away from home, where they can always count on a safe, focused place to work where they receive the academic support they need to be successful in their studies. Throughout the day, the library is filled with students working on research, organizing projects, or looking for new books to read. Because of our school-wide reading initiative, which the library supports through Reader's Advisory, book talks, and student participation in collection development, our circulation has increased over 60% in 2 years. Our library staff also supports students and teachers in the classroom, offering tech support, lessons in building research and technology skills, and online and print resources. Our library program has also grown to include the Changemakers class, where students can design projects that create change in their community. This year, our student random act of kindness movement fed the homeless, started the Around the World Culture Club, a weekly coffee shop, and held Patalica, a benefit concert for Humane Haven, a local animal shelter. Westmont High School Library is transforming learning. Thank you very much. Does anyone have any questions or comments or anything?
That all looks fantastic.
Thank you.
I think
Seeing all the
it's,
pictures.
Just a little speechless
Very
there.
nice.
so.
yeah,
That's good.
Very nice.
All right. Well, thank you very
All
much.
right, thank you so much.
thank you. Okay, the next item on the agenda is the first reading of proposed student handbook revisions.
And each year, the district has to have a committee to review the handbooks at each of our schools, and that committee is made up of administrators, parents, students, and staff members. And this evening, Tim Weiler is here from the committee to highlight some of the changes. This will be the first reading, and then the board will have an opportunity to review the recommended changes, and then at our May 17th board meeting, they'll be presented for approval. Tim?
Thank you. On behalf of the handbook committee and Mr. Kevin Weck, I will take any questions that I can and answer back to the handbook committee, so you guys can have proper responses in writing before your next meeting or in a timely manner. But I'm here to speak on behalf of elementary, middle, high school, and then also there are some recommendations made by the certified nurse in the school district to kind of make the handbook more cohesive and have some common areas, no matter if you are looking at an elementary, middle, or high school handbook. So I'm going to start at the lowest levels, beginning with elementary. Just a couple of things to highlight. As you can see, there's quite a few items under each handbook. I'm just going to highlight some of the things that you might want to either spend a little bit of time on or just are notified of. But some of the state laws are changing the way we discipline our students at all public schools. It revolves around less suspension because the data supporting that kids do belong in a safe environment at school. So some of that language is changing in all three handbooks, and it really just gets us to focus on alternatives to suspension methods, as well as trying to use suspension as the last factor in disciplining a child. It should never be part of the first or even secondary response system for students. So that will be a change that you will all see in the handbook. Starting at the elementary level, there needs to be a change to the principal of the elementary school. Edith's name was on there from last year. One of the changes was to put my name in there for this year. I was hoping that would get a couple laughs. A lot of the language in all three handbooks are incorporating the new volunteering or how our visitors come into the building with the lobby guard system. So the language we eliminated, going to the ROE, waiting 2 weeks, coming to the district office and filling out an application. Just if you have a valid ID, the common language is you can get in the buildings and participate in activities during the day while following the new lobby guard system. At the elementary level, we had a couple meetings with staff as well as rolled out a couple documents collaborating on what is in there for homework, the homework suggestions. Some of the things that were taken out, nothing was added, but a couple pieces that were taken out were some bullet points on why homework is important and also the time that a typical first, second, third, fourth, fifth grade student spends on homework. And we just added in there that if a student becomes frustrated with their homework or takes too long on a regular basis, to please contact the classroom teacher. As the district is looking at homework as a overarching goal for next year, we felt the need to take out some of the language just to so teachers can spend a little bit more time on curriculum night and open house to really focus on what their characteristics are of homework in the classroom, so that parents know about those things based on what the teachers are sending home and communicating regularly with parents. That would be one of the changes maybe you want to take a look at. Tardies at both schools were consistent with parents. If your child is tardy to school and there's no one at the front door to walk your child in, which would be about 5 minutes after the tardy bell, parents need to come up to the main office and sign their child in. They can no longer drop them off. That was kind of a little ambiguous at both schools, so that's going to be consistent within the two school buildings. So that's elementary. Take a look at all the changes, as well as we added a section that kind of summarized. It's kind of a cheat sheet for attendance and tardiness. We modeled what Kevin had proposed at the high school, so it looks very similar with absent, what phone number you call for the absent hotline, and then followed by all the procedures we follow for absent and attendance procedures. So it models the high school. We just got rid of some of the language that just pertains to high school students. So that would be a similar document from both buildings. The junior high. Again, one of their main pieces for change was the suspension policy, which we kind of went over. And then their requirement for the student service learning commitment. The graduation requirement is in the handbook now, and it's identified for the number of hours each grade level will need in order to graduate, as well as the honors geometry classroom that is created for the students that will be going over to the high school. So that's identified as well for the middle school as highlights. And then the high school has a lot of theirs has to do with the suspension policy as well, not just the suspension piece, but there's a lot of language in some subsections that are attached to how students are disciplined for infractions in the classroom and in the hallways and in other areas of the building. Graduation requirements are highlighted for future graduation classes, and then the listing of clubs and activities that students have to choose from when they go to the high school. Those are some of the major lists of items that are changed. And then open campus lunch made available to seniors, and it's on a not on an everyday basis, but it's open campus lunch will be granted on a periodic basis for students in the senior class, and there's ways they can earn that. So that's language that is in there, but that does affect students leaving campus, so that might be something you want to look at. And that's pretty much it for the handbook update. So take a look at those. If you have any questions, I'll write them down. The ones I can't answer tonight, bring it to the handbook committee, and I'm sure this will be on the agenda to talk about and review at the next meeting. Any questions?
I guess it's just going to be more consistency across the district.
That would be the goal. Yeah, we're hoping by next school year to have a section that is pretty much transparent and consistent through all the levels, and then the first part of the section would be, would just have to do with the school building that the children go to. So the high school will have the first part of the section, and then the second part would be universal through the grade levels.
So I guess my one question would be, with the construction going on at the high school, are we going to detail in there what happens with the students when the student at the high school is late, that he's going to have this new student entrance in the back of the building that he's going to have to come into?
Great question. I will bring that to the team's attention.
That's a good idea.
Thank you.
I have a question.
Yes.
And it's on the suspension, and I do see that it has been stated that it's the new language based on the new Senate bill. It says on the first one, before, two things. Before suspension, the student shall be provided a conference during which the charges will be explained, and the student will be given an opportunity to respond to the charges. Then, number 3 says, any suspension shall be reported immediately to the student's parents or guardians. So my question is, that with the student being provided a
Due
conference,
process.
will the parents be included in that, or is that, you know, so it says here that a student will be provided a conference. Are the parents, is that with the parents or without the parents, or, and I don't know who can answer that.
Well, typically, that's considered due process, and typically the parent is not there during that portion. Depending upon the severity of the offense and the length of suspension, the parent will be brought in prior to suspending the student, so it depends on the situation.
Okay, can we put something in there that says something along that line? Because, you know, I'm thinking of a number of different situations. You know, an elementary student who, you know, these are little kids, can they, you know, speak for themselves? That's not to diminish that, you know,
Sure.
being sent to the principal's office.
Right.
But if there is then anything, and it does say all suspensions shall be reported immediately to the student's parents. That I want to definitely follow up on, even if, like, there was an incident. You know, that's what I'm getting at. So maybe
Right.
it turns out that it wasn't an in-school or obviously an out-of-school suspension.
Right.
But to definitely keep the parents in the loop, because on this says, then a written notice of suspension shall state the reason, and then obviously then upon request of the parents, a review by the Board of Ed. But it would be good to see some piece in there that has the parents involved before.
Before the consequence is given, or,
Yeah, just so that, and again, I think it's, you know, obviously if it's a severe situation, but it would just seem to me that there should be some piece in there that parents know when something is happening.
during any infraction, or only those pertaining to suspension?
You know, I don't know. I mean, I mean, you know, if Johnny pulled Susie's hair and they're in your office, you know, I don't know. But I think, because we've heard things, you know, in the past about some of these kind of situations. So I
Sure.
think, you know, I don't know how to write that up.
Yeah.
I'm just saying it would be good to maybe talk about that because, you know, older kids, older problems, those of us that have older kids. And so rather than just having it be you know, a done
After,
deal,
yeah.
and then the parents get a note. I don't know. Does anybody else?
I guess I'm not sure which way I think about it. I can see kind of both ways, right? I mean, as a parent, and I'd like to think a responsible parent, I would like to know if there's something going on with my kid where something, you know, is happening that the suspension may be considered, that kind of thing. However, I can also see where there's instances where that would really create problems in trying to execute the discipline process. So I guess I would say I'm not disagreeing with you at all, but I think I would defer to if there is kind of more of a standard. I mean, kind of globally outside of here, is there one method that's used over the other, that kind of thing. And so what I would probably, from my standpoint, I would say I'd certainly consider this. I think it's a good thing to consider, and I'm not at all opposed to it, but I don't know what is done outside of our district and kind of.
I can tell you, when administrators are putting discipline into our Skyward system, there is a section on both screens, the screen that you write down the incident and then the screen that you provide consequences, that parent notification is a checkbox that's on there. So I know it's it's a good practice to make sure you're always communicating with parents about any incident where a child is involved in some kind of infraction where they're not abiding by school rules. So I don't know if it's more of a practice that needs to be put in place by those that are administering discipline, or something that needs to be in the handbook. But I think that's a question that you guys definitely can probably talk about as a board.
Is that, just let me follow up on that.
Yeah.
Is that something you have to go to Skyward to see, or when it's put in there, the parents are notified in an email or something? Because
That's great. That's a great question. I don't know the parent side of it, or the view, the other viewer. I just know what I see on my end. That's a great question.
Because I would like to think that every parent goes into Skyward every day. No, I don't want to think that. The students should. But if there's something there and all of a sudden you see it like a week or two later, or,
Sure.
maybe you look every week or whatever. So if there was some way to,
Really, what I think you're asking for is an automatic email to be sent to the
Right.
parent. When that box is clicked, is it an automatic email that goes to the
Right.
parent that says, hey, little Timmy was in the principal's office today?
Well, I think the administrator or whoever's writing that into Skyward is already making the communication home, whether it's email or by phone. And when they click it, you're assuming that the parents were notified in some fashion of the incident.
okay,
So it's an easy way to track
Right, I
the
think,
information.
right, I think the intent is that part of the process, the administrator should be reaching the parents, and as part of the report, then they indicate that, yes, they did make that parent contact.
okay.
It's really more documentation from your
Right.
side of things than it is actually the notifications, triggering some sort of notification.
Right, right.
And you'd probably write in there, called
Parent
parent
called or
or
whatever, yeah.
email
Left
parent.
message.
Yeah, and that's, I guess that
Details
would
of-
be great, if that is all in the system. I would like to think that my students will never get one of those, however, they might. But just when you look at this new, law, just that we're also keeping the parents in the loop of what's going on at school.
Absolutely.
And I believe that's the intent of the law.
Okay.
That's part of that process.
Okay.
Before you even get to that point where you would consider suspending a student.
Okay, can we, if we have something in Skyward, can we add that to this? Something like that's
We can.
there? Just so that when, at the beginning of the year, when all the parents read every page of this, that they know that that's a system, because,
Some of us do.
I mean, it's a good thing to know, or you can always, refer to that, just so you know what's, because I can almost think of a situation like, well, this is the third time you've been in the principal's office. Well, what if the parents didn't know about that?
Sure.
You know?
So more information about parents going into the Skyward account to look at any information, or about something more along the lines of an automated message that populates an email communication to parents?
That's what I guess I'm asking.
Yeah.
If that's what's in the Skyward system, then that states that there's, right?
I guess what we're really asking for is that when the child is in the principal's office, that there be a policy that principal does make every effort to reach out and at least try to prove in his notes that, yeah, I called Mr. Armstrong
Right.
and I left him a message, he hasn't called me back, or I sent
Right.
I mean, I guess that's more what I'd be looking for.
You got it.
I agree. That was, I guess, what I was saying. And my question is does Skyward do that? And if it doesn't, what can be done, or
Right.
just some explanation so
we'll
people
look
can
into that.
understand?
Right.
As I bring these questions up to Mr. Weck, I'll have a conversation with Mrs. Springer, who's she knows everything about Skyward, so we'll get her involved in the process.
That's great.
Okay, great, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Just from a timeline thing, because the block of time I had set to review all of these, I didn't quite make it all the way through them, so if we have a change or suggestion, you don't want to really make that at the next meeting, because that's when we're going to be, hopefully approving the final copy, because you like these completed so that they can be, are they still printed, or are we just doing online?
The junior high just does online. I think the high school did a hard copy this past year.
Okay. So I know
Miller
you like
also
to
had a
have
hard
them.
copy this year.
Okay. So should we contact you with questions and then
Right, if you
follow up?
contact
and-
me, And we'll have the policy or the handbook changes as a discussion item at the next board meeting.
Okay.
So there can continue to have that discussion, and then action will take place
Okay.
after the discussion.
Very good. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. Okay, the next item for discussion is the presentation of monthly financial statements.
Okay, for the month of March, we received $205,000 from the state, and they vouchered another $370,000 that they owe us. Also, we issued our 2016 Series A and Series B bonds for the summer construction projects. So we had an influx of $9 million of cash into the district at the end of March. And you'll see that we subsequently have part of that invested in CDs at the end of March, and then the rest of it we've finished investing this month. So when you look at the investment report, you'll start to see a lot more CD activity and things like that with those expiring as we need funds to pay the different payments through the construction projects. And then in the Ed Fund, again, we received $205,000, and the state owes us about $213,000 in that fund. And in the Transportation Fund, the state owes us about $158,000 for FY16 payments. And then as far as expenditures go, we're where we should be at this point in the year. The O&M fund is 71% spent to date and was 63.6% spent to date last year at this time, again, because we did a lot of summer projects last year. And then in the transportation fund, you'll notice that the expenditures are considerably less than prior years. Again, as of the end of March, we still had not received the invoices from Septran. You did notice a late addition to expenditures this week, and because we did get some of those bills, so we got some of those paid on Monday for 3 of the months, and then we received the rest of them late yesterday. So those actually won't hit until May, but so they're finally starting to get us the correct invoices for transportation. And then again, the activity reports are attached. The lunch report is attached, fund balance. And then that one other comment I just wanted to make about the bond issue. And when we were talking about that, we were trying to decide on timing and when we were going to issue. And so originally, we adopted the resolution in September, and at that point, our pricing, we were looking at the interest cost being, the true interest cost being 3.611%. And then, we waited a little while, and then again, we had another estimate for January, and that cost was going to be 3.404%. Well, by us waiting and timing it closer to when we'd actually need the funds to start paying bills for the projects, we actually were able to hit kind of another market low. So our overall true interest cost is 2.788% for the bonds. So I just wanted to let you know that that was a good pricing and good timing for us. It paid off by waiting, so.
That's excellent. That's excellent. Very good, very good.
Okay. Any other questions?
I had one
Good.
question. It was an article I was reading about the state payments to local governing bodies, and that they made overpayments to a number of them, and they're going to then be, and our total was something like $30,000.
Yeah, 34,000, I think. It's the corporate personal property replacement taxes. And and we're going to talk about put all of the state financing impact together for a future board meeting, so that we have an update for you on kind of the ins and outs and what's going on with the legislation. They're thinking about phasing that in to recoup that, and I don't know over what period of time. But yes, that will be another $34,000 loss of revenue at some point.
Well, okay, so thank you for that, because I think it is important to, I think, because, people ask me, when I read about all this stuff, how does it affect the school? And
Yeah, and Kevin and I talked to him, we're going to get
Yeah.
all of that information put
Good.
together. And
Okay, great.
present it.
So the generic question I have then is, in terms of these revenues and these, IOUs and that, how are we comparable to previous years and that we're getting this?
Yeah, we're okay right now, and
Okay.
that's another piece that we'll, present to the board. We did talk to the finance committee about what would happen and how the district would fare if we did not receive fourth quarter payments. And we have about a year that we could survive without having to do major cuts. But anything out beyond that, then there will be significant changes to the district as we know it, so.
'Cause a couple of people had said, is there any, can the districts send us to anybody to start a letter writing campaign or
And
things like
again,
that?
that's
and
one of the other things.
Get
with,
on a bus and take a field trip?
That, with WEND, our legislative action group, they're actually putting together, talking points that we will be sharing with the board and with the community, so that they can reach out and start communicating with legislators about the impact, and so that hopefully some positive action starts happening.
Okay, great, thank you.
So it's very much up in the air from what I've been reading for next year as far as whether there'll be, because this year, the only part of the budget, state budget that was actually signed was the education K through 12 portion, and that doesn't look like it's going to happen the same way this year, at least from the read that from what I'm reading about. So that puts many districts in a very tight spot, many much more so than us, but still would impact us greatly if we're not getting things in a timely manner, or if things get scaled back, because the same situation that happened, which was happening with the higher education, they didn't get any of their money, so they went this whole year, the state universities, without getting funding. And now at the very last, they come together with some sort of deal that they celebrate as being such a great achievement, but it only really gave them 30% of what they were budgeted. So the higher ed took a 70% cut, and they didn't find that out till the end of their fiscal year. So we could be in a similar situation if there's no budget that gets put in place, where we're anticipating someday they'll get it all straightened out and we'll be made whole, but you don't get made whole, and then you're in a real, it's a real mess. So it's very much something that you hope people understand, but, and I think people will if it comes down to kids in schools and not being funded, and that's when people may be have more incentive to contact their legislators and let them know, what damage this is doing to our education and our state in general.
Well, you bring up a good point, because, I'd hate to see people like storming in here and yelling at all of us, because we're going to be forced to make hard decisions, and it's not, we've been working really hard over these masks, and some of us more than others can, to balance our budget and still provide the students with these classes and programs and that, but we're gonna be in a tough spot if the state doesn't come through with their money, and it's a fact.
Yep.
So definitely something that we should all be watching and paying close attention to, and talking to community members as appropriate, and as they ask to let them know this is serious. It's not just this could happen to us, what's happened to higher ed, and it would be a really tragic thing.
And that's going to be a very, it'll be a very hard discussion. Okay, thank you very much for that. Okay, action items. The first one is appointment of SACID Board of Control Representatives.
And our school district is a member of the SACID Special Education Cooperative, and the board needs to appoint a member to the governing board, and in the past, Joel has served in that capacity, and Judy has been the alternate. And so the recommendation is for Joel to continue serving on the board, and then Judy to be the alternate.
Okay, Joel and Judy are all fine with that? Okay. Are there any questions?
No.
The chair will entertain a motion to approve the appointment of Joel Price as Community Unit School District 201's representative to SACID's Board of Control and Judy Wilson as alternate.
So moved.
Second?
And roll call, please.
Mr. Johnson?
Yes.
Mrs. Notbush?
Yes.
Mr. Price?
Yes.
Ms. Wilson?
Yes.
Mr. Armstrong?
Yes.
Mrs. Charlton?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, and then same thing with the SACID Governing Board of Representatives. So the chair will entertain a motion to approve the appointment of Joel Price as Community Unit School District 201's representative to SACID's Governing Board and Judy Wilson as alternate.
So moved.
Second?
And a roll call, please.
Mrs. Notbush?
Yes.
Mr. Price?
Yes.
Ms. Wilson?
Yes.
Mr. Armstrong?
Yes.
Mr. Johnson?
Yes.
Mrs. Charlton?
Yes. Okay, then the next item is the review and award of asbestos removal bid.
Okay, we're recommending that we approve the bid with Midwest Service Group in the amount of $64,715, and we did get very favorable abatement results this time around, so we were really pleased about that. The scope of the work changed slightly, but this was a really good bid for us, so we were pleased with that this year.
Yeah, it looks like it came in well under.
Well under,
Well
it
under.
did, which is nice,
Well under.
because some things are
It's nice to
not
see
as
that.
well under. So.
Okay, any questions or comments? All right, then the chair will entertain a motion to award the asbestos bid to Midwest Service Group in the amount of $64,715 as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Price?
Yes.
Ms. Wilson?
Yes.
Mr. Armstrong?
Yes.
Mr. Johnson?
Yes.
Mrs. Notbush?
Yes.
Mrs. Charlton?
Yes.
Thank you.
And then the next one is the review and award of flooring bid.
Yes, we're recommending that we enter into the contract with Vortex in the amount of $373,348. And we're actually utilizing the National Joint Powers Alliance Purchasing Cooperative for this. This allows school districts, those contracts have already been competitively bid, and it allows us to purchase through them. We did that purchase through a cooperative before we purchased one of the trucks for the district several years ago. And so attached is the pricing from the cooperative, and then Vortex actually discounted that pricing as well, so that it was even more competitive. Vortex has done lots of work in the district. They did South School and the Manning project, so I think we know what their work product is like, and we've been pleased with their work, so we're recommending that we go that route for this.
My only question is, where are we in the bid here? Was this high, was this low? Was this-
No, right on, pretty much
Right
on
on.
target.
Okay.
We're, with the contingency, we're about $6,000 under. Without the contingency, about $28,000 over. There's a lot of, especially at the high school, with all those curves and things like that, that's where we're a little bit over, is at the high school. And
A round building has curves, huh?
it's, well, and then we have a lot more waste in the carpet and things like that, so, but we do have, there's some of the floor prep, they don't think they're gonna use as much of the floor prep estimate as they need, but it's in there just in case we run into any issues, so.
Okay, great. Any Other comments or questions? Then the chair will entertain a motion to award the flooring bid to Vortex, Inc. in the amount of $373,348 as presented.
So moved.
Second.
And a roll call, please.
Ms. Wilson,
Yes.
Mr. Armstrong,
Yes.
Mr. Johnson,
Yes.
Mrs. Knappus.
Yes.
Mr. Price,
Yes.
Mrs. Charlton.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, then the next one is the review,
It's reject.
I'm sorry, reject the casework bid and authorize the rebidding of casework.
Yeah, we only received one bid for casework, and it was not favorable. And so we are going to go out to rebid for that. So we're asking you to reject that and then authorize us to rebid.
What is the casework? What is that specifically? Do we know?
Like the countertops and things in the different, in the workrooms and things like that, like mailboxes and, a lot of the stuff in the workrooms.
Okay, that's fine.
All right. Any other questions or comments? The chair will entertain a motion to reject the casework bid and authorize the rebidding of casework.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
That's not a roll call?
No.
Okay. Aye.
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 Okay, any opposed? Okay, motion carries. Okay, then the next one is a review and award of lighting bid.
Okay, we're recommending that we award the contract to Connection in the amount of $299,157.62 for the lighting. What we did and the lighting is one of the components of the electrical package, because we need to get because of lead times, we needed to bid that separately from the entire electrical contract. And so this is about $24,000 over the budget right now. But we're hoping to make that up in the rest of the electrical contract. And anyway, and again, I'm keeping very close tabs on the overs and unders to make sure we
Oh, I imagine
wind
you
up.
are.
Yep. So,
Is this the LED lighting?
it's all the lighting, overhead lighting at the schools.
They talked about doing the more modern LED, that's why.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Sounds great.
Yeah, and that lighting too should save us money in the long run.
Right.
Yes, on your electric bills.
Okay, any other comments or questions?
No.
The chair will entertain a motion to award the lighting bid to Connection in the amount of $299,157.62 as presented.
So moved.
Second.
And roll call, please.
Mr. Johnson,
Yes.
Mrs. Knappus,
Yes.
Mr. Price,
Yes.
Ms. Wilson,
Yes.
Mr. Armstrong,
Yes.
Mrs. Charlton.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, then the next item is superintendent's report.
A couple items in my report. One is that on May 10th, 2016, the board will have a community outreach meeting. It'll be at 7:00 p.m. in the Manning Community Room, and it'll have two purposes. One is to provide the community with an update on the facility projects for the summer at Manning Miller, the junior high and the high school, so that the community can know what to expect. But then there'll also be an opportunity for community engagement in which the community can ask questions of the board, and the board will be able to respond to their questions.
And I just want to add to that, just to remind people, this is not a regular board meeting. It is a informal event, and there can be questions, and just to remind people that we might not have all the answers that night. But it's a way for the community to reach out to the board, and especially right now as we're heading into this construction season and explaining to everybody what's happening. So we really look forward to that, and there will be many pieces of emails and things to reach out to people to make sure that everybody knows about that. It'll be at Manning.
Yes.
That was very successful last time, so let's hope we can reach out to the
Right,
community again
right.
and get the people back out there.
Right, yeah, because it's almost May, so we'll be doing that. So, thank you.
And then just again related to construction this summer, the plan is our construction will begin June 1st, 2016, so the day after our students are done. And the plan is to have regular updates for the parents and community with regards to the progress with construction in terms of pictures and descriptions. And we will have a link on the district webpage that will take people right to that section. And we will be updating that on a regular basis. And we've been communicating to Steve Cashman, our architect. He'll help us with those updates as well. And then in terms of communications, again, I had a parent question about this. Just reiterating again our registration dates for the 2016-17 school year. Those dates have been set. They're August 11th and August 18th. They'll be held at the junior high and from 2 o'clock p.m. to 7 o'clock p.m. And as always, if parents have conflicts with those dates, they can contact their child's or school, and they'll make accommodations for those parents. And we also have now included that on the district calendar as well, so parents can go to the calendar. And then one other announcement, last night was the Westmont Chamber Awards dinner. And each year, the Chamber recognizes a Teacher of the Year. And this year, the Teacher of the Year is from the Westmont 201 School District, and is Colleen Walsh, who is an 8th grade literacy teacher at the junior high. So congratulations to Colleen.
Good. Okay, are there any board reports?
I guess I just want to remind everybody that this weekend is the junior high musical the musical. So it seems like it's going to be a fun time. I think it's Friday and Saturday.
It's Friday and Saturday, Friday at 7, Saturday at 2.
There you go.
And tickets are available through the...
I don't know, we don't know yet.
It was in the junior high announcements today.
Was it?
You could click on, it was on the junior high announcements, and there's a link that you can go to order tickets for that.
Okay, I didn't see that. How did I miss that? Thank you.
Are there any other board reports? I just want to just do a little report on our Destination Imagination team, who at state this year again took, in regionals they took first place, in state they took third place, and that means that they're heading off to Tennessee this year to compete in globals. And it was very exciting. The students were awarded another Renaissance Award for particular areas of creativity. They did get this third place award, and they're going to go, even though the graduation is on Thursday night, everyone's going to head out of town quickly right after that to get down to Tennessee. So congratulations to the DI team and the team leaders who continue to just do a great job, again, volunteering their time. So
Here.
okay, anything else? Are there any public comments? All right, then future meetings and events. Kindergarten open house, April 27th, 2016, 2 to 3 at Manning School.
Yeah, there's,
Okay, so then the kindergarten open house for Miller is this Friday, and that's the 29th, and that's from 1 to 2. Thank you very much. Thank you for being here for that, for many reasons, but Miller School Spring Concert is April 27th at 7 o'clock at Miller School. The Manning School Spring Concert, April 28th at 7 o'clock at Westmont High School. April 29th and the 30th, Junior High Musical, Suzico the Musical, again, Friday night, 7 o'clock, and Saturday, the 30th, at 2 o'clock, and that will be at the junior high. Then, again, a special meeting, a community outreach hosted by the Board of Education, May 10th at 7 o'clock at Manning, and then the next school board meeting, May 17th at 7 o'clock at the Westmont Village Hall.
And I think there's a couple of band concerts coming up too, but I don't know the exact dates, so keep an eye out for those.
Oh,
as
there's
they'll
a
be coming.
jazz
I think there's a
band.
jazz. I think it's a district jazz.
And choral, but are they in May?
The jazz band is the 11th of May.
The jazz band is May 11th?
I believe so,
Yep,
yeah.
at 7. And then the junior high band concert is May 20th,
Okay.
Okay, that one will
next meeting.
meet up. Okay, a lot of stuff going on.
Busy time of year.
Yeah. All right, the chair will entertain a motion to enter closed session for the purpose of discussing collective bargaining, personnel issues, student discipline, the superintendent's evaluation, and probable litigation.
So moved.
Second.
And roll call, please.
Mrs. Notbush.
Yes.
Mr. Price.
Yes.
Ms. Wilson.
Yes.
Mr. Armstrong.
Yes.
Mr. Johnson.
Yes.
Mrs. Charlton.
Yes. And there will not be a vote after closed.